Hello everyone, this is a skills video and also a tools and techniques video for this week, and I am going to be putting this one on YouTube just for this month of April. I've been sort of sharing some things on YouTube as well, just a few things just to maybe spark some more interest for Patreon without hitting people over the head with it. So I wanted to say I stopped by my gallery today, that our exhibition, and I picked up the brochure. This is my friend Carol's painting, and Des Moines, and it's so nice. Everything's in here, and the website is actually up. So if you go to mybonefinearts.com, you can see the website, and I'll go ahead and post that too on Friday, but it is up if you wanted to take a look at it. So that was kind of exciting. And I brought home this. This is one that, because all the rest of them are on a different kind of paper, this is just one I did just because, and I actually love this, so I might frame it for myself. But see the texture of this paper? It's so beautiful. I just love it. Oh, maybe I don't know, maybe I'll sell it. So today I want to talk about dip pens, and I need to turn this because, you know, I can't write with my paper straight up and down. So I'll try to make sure that it's on the screen. It's not that imperative, but I'll try to make sure. So a lot of you know that I've been talking about the Kakimori Nib, and I've been doing a lot of work with it. In fact, it's all I'm working with right now. I'm just so in love with it. And I wanted to, many of you have messaged me, many about it, and asking questions about it, and asking the difference between these two nibs and all of these things. And so I thought I would do a video that talks about why I love them, what's so phenomenal and groundbreaking about them, and then show you the difference between these two, and then my standard G nib, which I used for years and years, and then a standard fountain pen nib, which is really nice, just to show you the difference, right? And how they work comparatively. So I'm going to start by using the dip pens, and I'm going to use a Pigment Ink. This is Kakimori ink, which I'm in love with. I have 3 colors, and I mix them. You can, they're pigments, so you can mix them just like you would mix watercolor, and they're permanent and waterproof and light fast and all that good stuff. They are, because they are pigment, it's like buying a bottle of concentrated French ultramarine, right, or cobalt. So they're not inexpensive, but they will last you, and you can mix them, and they are archival. So I've dipped my pen all the way in here, and then I just usually wipe it off a little bit. And so this is a standard Manga G Nib. This is what I recommend to everyone when they're learning pen and ink. This is what I use in my books. This is what I use in my own work. And the reason I love these, number one, they're fairly affordable. You can get 4 nibs for like $11 or $12. And they last, I mean, if you use them a lot, they might last you a week or two. It just depends. It depends on how much you use them and what you use them for. I use them for pen and ink drawing, but I also use them for masking fluid. And so when you use them for masking fluid, they don't last as long. So the beautiful thing about Manga G Nibs is you can get super fine lines. You know, you can tilt your nib straight up and down, okay? Even just drawing like this, you can get a really fine line. But by using pressure on the nib, you can get more expressive lines. They're fairly stiff, right? So let's say I was doing cursive. They're scratchy and stiff, and so if you're writing and drawing, you might get feedback. And by feedback, I mean you feel the paper under the pen, okay? And the other thing is they don't hold the ink forever. All right, so I'm just showing you how, and then I'm out, and I'd have to dip again. All right, and that was a full dip. So they're very expressive, but they are scratchy, and they have feedback. And I really enjoy drawing with them. Sometimes you get a bad nib, like that doesn't work great. But if you have good technique and you're working with pen and ink, you can get really precise drawing. So like pine needles, for instance, you know what I mean? Really, really beautiful. And you can go thicker lines, or you can go really fine. So they're very lovely, all right, to draw with. Scratchy, a little feedback, and I can't just like really go crazy with it. See, it's gonna skip and spray and everything else. It's not intended to do that. It's intended for precision. Okay, and you saw how far I got with it before I had to re-dip, and that's not very far, right? So that's that. I've got ink all over me now from skipping it. So that's the Manga G Nib. Serves my purposes really well for many things. This is a traditional calligraphy nib. I don't even know what this is called. It might even be vintage. It was a gift to me and I really like it. I've taken good care of it because I want it to last. And so this is a very standard nib. It's a lot smoother than the G Nib. It's not going to give you as fine of a line, fairly, but you have to really get up on the tippy toe. It is more comfortable for cursive writing. It's like better for handwriting, I guess I would say. Okay. I can't get the same kind of, it doesn't make the same kind of marks. I can't explain it, but it's smoother. It doesn't skip as much. It does have some, obviously, line weight ability. So like if you're doing calligraphy on the downstroke and you put, you know, a little bit more pressure. I'm not very good at that, and doesn't really work for left-handers. But you can definitely do that with this nib. So here I'm running out of ink. So that's about how much I could get with one dip. So more than the G Nib. It holds a little more. It's wider, right? It's wider. It has that nice spoon shape. So it's really nice for writing and drawing. Like if I'm going to do like a pine needle, so nothing there. I have to really go up on the tippy toe to get the fine line. So it's not as fine, right? There, if I go up on the tippy toe, I can get that fine line. And then, let's say part of a pine cone where, you know, I get thicker down here. And you could go up on your tippy toe to get really fine on top. So this is known as a writing nib, not a drawing nib, okay? A manga nib is a drawing nib. So this is a writing nib. And I can even do printing. Okay, so it works well for both. And let's just see if I run it out of ink right about now. So you can see you get about double that you would from a G Nib. Now for the glory. So this is the brass nib. The brass nib is a little bit softer. It's a little bit, has a little bit of a fatter tip, I guess I would say. And how they work is, so it's just this beautifully made brass nib. This is a standard universal holder, as is this one, which my nib is just crusted in there, so I'm not going to take it out. It would fit any standard universal holder. All right, now I've really got ink on myself. So it's super easy to get in and out, and you know, if you've ever worked with G Nibs, they are not that easy to get out. Okay, so it's super easy to get in and out. I dip it into my ink bottle all the way to this part. I don't go above it. All right, and if I put it on its tiptoe with a full, whoops, I don't know what happened there. If I put it on its tiptoe with a full thing of ink, I get a fine line, all right? But it's not going to be as fine as the G nib. And I find that this nib works better at an angle. I mean, it's perfectly fine enough. So I'm at a normal angle for writing. It's not that much thicker, all right? So you're not going to get the super, super fine lines that you're going to get with one of these, all right? That's really not where it shines. So the amazing thing is it does have some precision. So if I'm methodical about it, I can get some pretty nice even lines. It's crazy. If I start to move with it and really draw and be expressive, I can get fine, thick, and even super, super, super thick, right? Just from the way I tilt my pen. Notice how much I've already drawn and how wet this nib is and how much ink I've put down, and that it's still going and going and going and going. This alone, to me, is worth so much, because to not have to dip my nib for such a long time is kind of a miracle. It is ridiculous how much ink it carries. And I don't know the magic of it. Now it's just starting to run out, and when it starts to run out, I can turn it around a little bit and I'll get a little bit more, but then it's just done. Look at that. And this was a lot of ink here. I mean, that's a ton of ink, right? That's incredible. That's really incredible. Let's say I want to draw, I'm drawing a plant on my desk. It has such a smooth feeling to it. And I can get in, and here I've got this like crevice. It just fills in areas so easily. Like if I were to draw a square and I wanted to fill that in, try doing that with a dip pen. It's not that easy. But with this, the way the nib is, it just kind of gets attracted to the ink that's already down, and it just sort of wicks it right out, and it's just fluid. It's almost as fluid as a watercolor wash. To demonstrate, if I were going to do that with a Manga nib, it's possible, but it just takes a little bit of time, and you've got to be really careful that you don't scratch the paper. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't wick the same. And I don't know how it does it, but it's just crazy. Even if I push down and like try to flood it, it's really hard for me to get it to move down. You've truly got to scrub back and forth. And that is one of the beautiful things about this as a drawing nib. It just fills in anything just effortlessly and beautifully. So it's very expressive. I can see it being really beautiful for automatic drawing or the neurographic drawing, because you can just truly go any which way with it, and you're going to get some fantastical things happening. So I really love it. It's really nice for It's really nice for drawing, especially drawing in pattern, because it does interesting things when you meet the other lines, like the ink will pool when it meets itself again. And I love those interesting intersections. So it has a feeling of precision to it, and yet it's got a fluidity to it. It's just very, very easy to work with. Okay, so this could take forever to run out. Okay, so that's the brass nib. So the stainless steel nib, I'm dipping it in the same ink. Stainless steel nib on tippy toe gives me that fine line. Okay, it's a much finer, you can feel it, like you can feel the sharpness of the nib, and that's on tippy toe. It just starts up right away in beautiful precision. Even if I'm just using it at a normal angle, it just, you can feel the paper. And you can get, by the amount you tilt the pen, you can get a little bit thicker, or you can go up on tiptoe and get really, really thin. Okay, so much more precise. To write with it is beautiful. I feel the paper without feedback. I can make quick, even strokes, all right? But I can also be expressive with it if I want to. It does just as much with on the expression factor as the other one, but it's just, it doesn't go quite as thick. However, watch what happens when I try to fill in a form. That's a lot of writing for one dip, and I really could have gone longer. Okay, so again, super easy to fill in forms with an almost watercolor-like wash. Now, I have used this with several inks. I really only draw with pigment inks now because I just don't waste my time with dye-based inks. They're just, to me, it makes me mad that they just disappear. If I put a lot of time into something, I want it to be there. I want it to be lasting. So beautiful, right? You can see a difference between the sharpness of this pen. It's just, it feels sharper. Let me dip it one more time and we'll see how long I can write with it. So we'll start out with some lines. Okay. So it's about the same. I can feel it starting to get drier. Actually, I'm going even farther. I didn't spill quite as much ink here as I did on the other one. So this is going longer. I mean, it's not even anywhere near giving out. The nib does not write as juicy as the brass. Look at that. It just won't stop. So think about longevity in a drawing practice and a sketching practice. And if you're doing a big drawing, it's still working, you guys. This and this between this, it's just hands down one of the greatest inventions ever. For someone who likes to draw with a pen. It's still going. Incredible, right? There, done. So when you feel the two nibs, this one feels sharper. It just feels a lot sharper. If I were going to only get one, and I already have G nibs, so if I really needed that super fine line, I could just do that. If I were only going to get one, I would probably get the brass, just because it's just so delightful to the touch. It really, it feels awesome. So. I was thinking a hat, but that's not going to work. So, I don't know, I think it's definitely a worthwhile tool. It's not, it's I think $45 for the nib. You can use it in any cheap holder that you already have. Is it a worthwhile purchase? I think so, if you're someone who likes to draw with a pen. If you're not someone who draws with a pen, if you're pretty much into graphite and watercolor, then this is not something that I would invest in, unless you're someone who draws with a pen frequently. So there's that. I don't know, you guys. It's pretty special. I mean, just to do like quick pine trees, even in a landscape, it's just so easy to get them down. It's almost like using a metal paintbrush. You know, it's just that, it's that lush. It's like it's like using a metal paintbrush. I really think that's a great analogy for it. To be able to go from so fine and precise to so wet, and to do something like that is incredible. Yeah. So that's the Kakimori Nib, and that's and the also the G Nib and a regular writing nib. Like this would be similar to a Browse Blue Pumpkin. You would get some sort of similar. The Browse Blue Pumpkin, that was a little bit softer. I kind of like that one, but it holds about that much ink. Yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And what a beautiful color ink, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's it. I really wanted to show you guys what the difference was. And again, if I were going to pick one, I would probably get the brass. To clean them, I run them under water or use a soft toothbrush if I need to. Run them under water and then make sure they're thoroughly dry. When you dry them, I pop them out, dry them, and then pop them back in and store them. Yeah, really fun. All right, everybody, that is it for today. Hopefully that was helpful. Super beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tool. It has kind of revolutionized the way I'm working right now, and maybe I'll pop in a few examples of some of the work I've done. All right, everyone, take care, and I will see you again very soon.